Hello everyone, welcome back to my series of lectures on data mining. Currently, we are discussing about data pre-processing, and in the last lecture, we have discussed about a few data pre-processing techniques. We've discussed about aggregation, we've discussed about sampling, and we have discussed about dimensionality reduction. These are the three data pre-processing techniques that we have discussed in the previous lecture. In the current lecture, we will be discussing about feature subset selection and feature creation. So these are the two data pre-processing techniques that we will be discussing about in the current lecture. So now let us get into the details of each one of them. Feature subset selection. So feature subset selection is a technique of data pre-processing where we are going to select a subset of all the features that are available in the data set for data mining analysis. As we know, all the features of the data set are not going to be very important, so therefore we are going to select a few features, and that is what is going to be a subset, and we are going to look at the process of how a few features are going to be selected from the entire data set, and that is what is subset selection. Feature subset selection, there is a little confusion between dimensionality reduction and feature subset selection. We've discussed in the last class, last session, about dimensionality reduction. So dimensionality reduction, for example, we have 50 features from the data set. So in these 50 features, there might be a few features, let us say three features. From these three features, there might be a possibility of creating one feature. So now what we're going to do in dimensionality reduction is, among those 53 features are combined to and we produce one. In this way, we reduce two features in the data set. So in this way, what we are going to get as benefit is we will not be losing the information among the of the features, and because this one feature is obtained from these three features, so therefore we will not be losing any information. This is one advantage we have with dimensionality reduction. Though two features are reduced, the advantage of all the entire information is kept in this particular feature, which is going to be constructed from these three features. Now coming to the subset selection. Subset selection. In the data set, there are going to be a few features which are going to be called as redundant features or irrelevant features. These features do not make any sense when we are trying to do analysis on the data. So therefore, the redundant features, which are called as the duplicate features. Okay, and what they do is these redundant features, they duplicate all the information contained in one or more attributes. So therefore, these redundant features can be reduced. So if one of the redundant features, for example, we have purchase price and sales tax paid as two features. So these two features, they both talk about the same thing. So therefore, if we have purchase price or the sales tax, that is going to be sufficient. So one of them can be removed. For example, sales tax can be removed and the purchase price can be kept. Such features are going to be called as redundant features. So among these two, which are purchase price and sales tax, we are going to select only one field. So that is how we reduce the number of features, and this is the way in which redundant features can be removed from the entire data set. Now coming to the second one, which is irrelevant features. There are going to be a few features in the data set which are not going to be of any help when we are doing the data mining task. So for example, the transaction ID. The transaction ID is such a feature which does not have any impact on the data mining results that we expect. So this feature does not add any benefit. So such features need not be available for data mining analysis or data mining or data analysis. So therefore, such features can be removed and a small subset can be constructed from the entire data set. So selecting the best subset, that is what is very important. Selecting the best subset of features is what is very important. So therefore, this selection of best features requires a very systematic approach. So now let us getting into details of how systematic approach can be used for getting the best subset of features that are available. So there are three standard approaches for feature selection. Number one is called as the embedded approach. Number two is the filter approach, and number three is the wrapper approach. So coming to the embedded approach, this is an approach which is used while in the operation of data mining algorithm. The algorithm itself is going to decide which attributes to use and which to ignore. So this is what happens in the embedded approach of feature selection. Coming to the second one, which is filter approach. So filter approach, features are selected before the data mining algorithm is run. So therefore, how do we do it before the data mining algorithm is going to be is run? Is we use some approach that is independent of the data mining task, because we are not using any data mining algorithm like the case of embedded approach. We are going to have some independent technique. For example, we are going to calculate the correlation that exists between each pair of the features in the data set, and depending on the correlation. For example, if the correlation is going to be low, it implies that both these features are not related to each other. So such features will be selected. For example, let us say we have 5 features in a data set. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So these are the features that we have in the data set. And now what we are going to do is we are going to check pairwise correlation between 1, 2, 1, 3, 2, 3, 4, 3, 4, 4, 5, and all these things. So in case the correlation between 1 and 2 is high, which means that these two are likely to be similar features. So in such case, instead of having two of them, we will have one. So if the correlation between two pairs, between a pair is going to be low, then both of them are going to be part of the subset of features that we are going to select. So this is the way in which filter approach is going to be used for subset selection. Now coming to the the next one, which is wrapper approach. So these methods, are going to target the data mining algorithm as a black box and find the best subset of attributes. So we are going to run a number of possible subsets through the data mining algorithm, the target data mining algorithm, which we expect to run. So that using that algorithm, we are going to run on that algorithm is going to be running on a few of the subsets from the entire data set, because we will not be able to take all the possible 2 power n subsets from a data set. We'll be able to take a few subsets of the complete data set, and on these few subsets we are going to run the actual algorithm as a black box, and depending on the results we are going to select the subset of attributes which are going to be appropriate. So this is the way in which wrapper wrapper approach is going to be used. So these are the three approaches that we have. So these three approaches that we have here have a few steps to be followed while doing this feature subset selection. So therefore, let us look at the steps that are going to be followed in subset selection. Now, as we're looking at the architecture for feature subset selection, as embedded approach are algorithm specific, we cannot do anything about it because each algorithm is going to have a different approach. So therefore, we shall discuss only about filter and wrapper approaches. So now we'll be looking at the procedure, the process for these two approaches. The process for these two approaches is going to have four different parts. Four parts. It's divided into four parts. Number one, it's going to have a search strategy that controls the generation of a new subset of features. Then it is going to have a measure for evaluating a subset. Then it is going to have a stopping criteria where when do we stop this search for the subset selection, and finally it is going to have a validation procedure to check whether the subset selection is appropriate or not. So now if we have these four steps, now the question is, are both the process, both the approaches, filter and wrapper, going to have the same steps, or are they going to have difference in the steps? So both the approaches, filter and the wrapper methods, they have the four steps, same step, but except they are going to differ only in one step, which is the evaluation of a subset of features. This is the only place where they are going to differ. Otherwise, all the remaining steps are going to be same for both the approaches. When coming to the evaluation of subset of features, as we have discussed, the filter method might have an approach where the correlation is going to be taken as the evaluation procedure, and wrapper might be having a case where the evaluation is going to be done by the data mining algorithm, that is going to be the target data mining algorithm. So now let us look at the diagrammatic representation of the architecture of feature subset selection. This is the architecture for feature subset selection. In this diagram, we can see we start with the complete set of attributes that we have, and from this complete set of attributes, we are going to employ a search strategy, and by employing a search strategy, we get a subset of attributes. These subset of attributes are evaluated first. So after the evaluation of this subset of attributes is being done, then we go for the checking of the stopping criteria. So the stopping criteria is going to be like the number of attributes that are required in the subset. For example, let us say we have 1,000 attributes in the total data set. So let us say, as a rule of thumb, I want the 100 best attributes to be in the subset. So therefore, when the stopping criteria is going to check whether the 100 is reached or not. This is like a rule of thumb. So once the stopping criteria is reached, then we get the selected attributes, and these selected attributes are sent for the validation procedure. And in the validation procedure, these subsets that we have selected, these attributes that we have selected are fine, then this is going to stop here. Otherwise, we are going to search, we're going to start one more search strategy, and we are going to see to it that we get the best possible subset of attributes among the all available attributes. There is one more approach in feature subset selection, which is feature weighing. So feature weighing is an alternate approach that we have in the feature subset selection process, or the elimination of features process. So by using this feature weights, we are going to eliminate the features here. So now, so most important features are going to have a higher weight, and less important features are given a lower weight. So how do we select in the weight? The weight for the features is depends on the domain knowledge. So domain knowledge is going to be very important. Based on the domain knowledge, people with the domain knowledge are going to be helpful in providing weights. So how are weights going to be given? For example, let us take, we are trying to assess the performance of students. We're trying to assess the performance of students. So when we are trying to assess the performance of students, we are going to have only those attributes which contribute to their performance as higher weights. So for example, in the student performance, we are going to have a few features like marks is one feature. So along with marks, we are going to have, let us say, attendance as feature. So now if you say marks and attendance, they are both important, that is very clear. But when it comes to performance analysis, definitely marks is going to have higher weight than attendance. So a little higher weight is going to be given to marks and a little lower weight is going to be given to attendance. So this is the way in which feature weights are assigned, and this is the way in which this is the activity that is going to be done by domain experts. So in case of data sets which have huge features, domain experts are going to be very helpful in doing this. In case domain experts are not available, there are cases where experts cannot be used, then there is a possibility for automatically determining the weights. And this is possible with the help of a few algorithms which are used for determining the weights that are going to be assigned to features. And this is the way in which feature weighing can also be one of the approaches for feature subset selection. So this is what is about feature subset selection. And now we shall move on to the next one, which is feature creation. So coming to feature creation is the process which is going to be helpful for dimensionality reduction. We are going to talk about how new features are going to be created from the old ones. So this is what we are going to discuss in feature creations. Now let us get into the details of feature creation. So it is frequently possible to create a few features from the original attributes that are going to capture important information in a data set much more effectively. So what is very important is we want to see to it that the features that are available have the capability to create new features which are going to be very useful for data mining. Then such features are going to be used. That is what is important. So the number of new attributes can be smaller than the number of the original attributes, which is going to be very helpful, and this is going to be helpful in dimensionality reduction. So it may not be the case always, but if it is smaller, it is going to be very helpful in dimensionality reduction. In fact, there are three related methods for creating new attributes, and we are going to talk about these three here. Feature extraction, mapping the data to a new space, and feature construction. These are the three methodologies that we are going to talk about here as far as feature creation is concerned. So let us start with feature extraction. So feature extraction, the creation of a new set of features from the original data is what is known as feature extraction. So the feature extraction is highly domain specific, and it is mostly used in image processing. Let us look at an example of how feature extraction is going to be very helpful. So let us take the example of identification of human faces from a set of photographs. So we have a few photographs here. So from these photographs, what we are trying to do is we are trying to identify human faces in these photographs. So let us say we have a human face here in the photograph, and we are trying to identify the human faces. Generally, the original data set is going to have pixels, pixels as the input. Pixels are going to be the input that we're going to have. Pixels are going to be input that we're going to have generally for a data set from as far as the data set is concerned. But to identify the human face, the edges, the edges that are going to be very important. The edges of the face are going to be very important. So what we are going to do is we are going to from the pixels we are going to extract this feature of the edges of the face. So where the edges are going to be and all these features, these things we are going to extract from the pixel. And this way of extraction is going to be very helpful in identifying human faces from a set of photographs. So this is how feature extraction is going to be useful for better data mining. Now coming to the second one, which is mapping the data to a new space. So what we are going to do is the actual data that we have is going to be mapped into a completely new space. So this way the new space is going to be more helpful. The data that is mapped to new space is going to be more helpful in data mining. So A totally different view of data can reveal important and interesting features from the data. So that is what is very important. So let us look at an example here. As an example here, we have two time series here. So there are two time series here. This is the first one and this is the second one. So two time series that we have here, and these two time series that exist in the data set are going to be like this. So this is a noisy time series. This is a noisy time series that we're going to have. So because it is a noisy time series, we may not be able to get enough information about the two series that we have here. So therefore, now what we are going to do is this time series is going to go through a procedure where we apply Fourier transformation. We are going to apply Fourier transformation, and the time series is going to be now transformed into a new space, and it is going to be transformed into a frequency series, into frequency spectrum. So this is what is called as a power spectrum. This is what is called as a power spectrum. So by doing this, we have new features. So we can see two highs here. We can see two highs here. These are the two time series that we are talking about. These are the two highs that we can see as far as the data is concerned, and all the noise is going to be removed now. And this new feature which is constructed from the existing data is going to be many times very helpful in the data mining process. So this is how mapping the data to a new space is going to be helpful in data mining. So this is the second step, second technique that we use for feature creation. This is the way in which a feature can be created from the existing feature. Coming to the last one, which is feature construction. Feature construction. Sometimes the features in the original data set have the necessary information, but it is not in the form that is suitable for data mining algorithms. So one or more new features can be constructed from the original features, and those few new features will be very useful. So in the data mining process. So for example, let us look at a process where we have the mass and the volume. For example, we have a few elements. We have a few elements, and what we want to do is these few elements we want to categorize them as into the different categories, as these elements are made up of either wood, brass, okay, or iron, aluminum, and so on and so forth. So now when we want to categorize them as we want to understand whether they are made of these wood or brass or all these things. So in case the data set has mass and volume, in case the data set has mass and volume. So these two features may not be very helpful in understanding the nature of the element that is being used for the construction. So therefore, what we can do is we can calculate the density. We can calculate the density, which is going to be equal to mass by volume, which is going to be equal to mass by volume, and this density is going to be very useful in understanding the nature of the element. So this way, this feature that is being constructed, the new feature which is density, that is constructed from the mass and volume is going to be very helpful. In this way, new features can be constructed from the existing features, and that is going to be very useful. So these are the three different approaches that we discussed about in feature creation. So with this we come to the end of the lecture. Thank you very much. Thank you for your patient listening.